When people today think about medieval Europe, they often imagine a distant world filled with castles, noble knights, and grand cathedrals rising above the land. But this image was not the reality for most medieval people. For medieval people, daily life was defined not by romance or glory, but by survival. They woke each morning unsure whether they would see another sunset. Fear was not an emotion that came and went. It was a constant companion, walking beside medieval people through every narrow street and darkened home. Medieval people lived in a world where life was fragile and death was familiar. Many medieval people never reached adulthood. Children born into medieval families faced disease, hunger, and harsh living conditions from their very first days. For medieval people, illness did not come with explanations. There were no microscopes, no understanding of bacteria, no reliable treatments. A simple cut could become infected. A fever could spread through a household. For medieval people, childbirth was one of the most dangerous moments of life. Many medieval women did not survive it, and medieval families learned to accept loss as part of existence. Death was not hidden away from medieval people. It was visible in churchyards, in homes, and in the quiet absence of loved ones. Medieval people lived alongside death so closely that it shaped how they thought, prayed, and hoped. The environments where medieval people lived made survival even harder. Medieval towns were crowded and unsanitary. Waste was often thrown directly into the streets where medieval people walked barefoot or in thin shoes. Clean water was rare, and medieval people often drank from the same sources used by animals. Bathing was uncommon among medieval people. Some believed that washing too often weakened the body or allowed illness to enter through open pores. Rats thrived in medieval cities, and fleas moved easily among medieval people. Disease spread silently, carried through air, water, and contact, long before medieval people understood what was happening. When sickness struck medieval people, medicine offered little help. Instead, medieval people turned to faith. Illness was often believed to be a punishment from God or a test of devotion. Medieval people prayed not only for healing, but for forgiveness, fearing that suffering was a sign of moral failure. Without scientific knowledge, medieval people searched for meaning in fear. And when fear grew too strong, medieval people searched for someone to blame. Superstition played a powerful role in the lives of medieval people. When crops failed or disease spread, medieval people believed that unseen forces were at work. Witchcraft became a convenient explanation for events medieval people could not understand. Accusations often fell upon the most vulnerable medieval people. Elderly women, widows, the poor, and outsiders were easy targets. Rumors moved quickly through medieval communities, spreading suspicion and panic. For medieval people, evidence was not required. Fear itself became proof. Confessions were often forced through torture by those in power over medieval people. Communities that once lived together peacefully turned against one another. Medieval people believed they were protecting themselves from evil while destroying their own neighbors. In these moments, fear became the most dangerous force medieval people ever faced. Religion stood at the center of life for medieval people. The church provided comfort, meaning, and hope in a harsh world. It offered explanations when none existed and promised salvation beyond suffering. But the church also held immense power over medieval people. Questioning religious authority was dangerous. Books were rare, and literacy was limited to a small group. Most medieval people relied entirely on what they were told by those in authority. Knowledge was controlled and curiosity was discouraged. Medieval people learned obedience long before they learned understanding. Faith soothed fear, but fear also enforced silence. To challenge belief was to risk punishment, exclusion, or death. For medieval people, survival often meant accepting what could not be questioned. War added another layer of suffering to the lives of medieval people. Medieval wars were not heroic for those who lived through them. Armies moved across the land, leaving destruction behind. Villages where medieval people lived were burned. Crops were destroyed. Homes were looted. Medieval people were forced to flee with little more than what they could carry. Soldiers survived by taking food from medieval people. Families starved as resources disappeared. For medieval people, war meant hunger, fear, and loss. Glory belonged to kings and nobles. Suffering belonged to medieval people. Yet despite everything, medieval people endured. They built lives within limits few today could imagine. They loved their families, raised children, and clung to hope in quiet moments. Medieval people gathered in markets, prayed in churches, and worked the land day after day. They believed tomorrow might be better even when evidence suggested otherwise. The dark side of medieval Europe is not a story of monsters or villains alone. It is a story of medieval people trapped by fear, ignorance, and circumstance. It is a reminder of how fragile life once was and how easily fear can shape society. Understanding the lives of medieval people does not diminish history. It honors those who endured it. History is not meant to be romanticized. It is meant to be understood. Because when we listen to the quiet struggles of medieval people, we are reminded of how far humanity has come, and how important it is to never forget what life was like when fear ruled the world.
Thank you sincerely for taking the time to watch this video. Everything you have seen here was carefully researched and produced with deep respect for medieval history. Your interest and continued support are the greatest motivation for me to keep exploring the past and creating more meaningful historical stories in the future. I truly appreciate your companionship on this journey. Thank you.
These turnips are tough this year.
Aye, but they'll keep us through the winter.
Keep the heat steady, boy. Strike true.
Yes, master.
Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison.
5 loaves for a measure of oats.
I'll give you 3, master.
Mind the cart, it's heavy going today.